people, welcome back to another sit down. This is just a follow-up to the Iceland video I already released earlier. If you've not seen it, I'm gonna link it up here, and I'm just going to be telling you about everything you need to know before you travel to Iceland. So I'm going to divide it into two categories, which is basic things you need to know and what you need to know if you're going to travel to Iceland on a budget. We all know Iceland is expensive. This is not news to anybody. It is definitely one of the most expensive countries in the world, and I experienced that firsthand. So I'm going to be telling you, which one should we do first? The budget or the anything you need to know? Okay, so we're going to start with everything you need to know. The first thing we're going to be talking about here, if you're going to Iceland, because Iceland is majorly almost always cold, so we're looking, you need to pack double layers, but it's worse if you're going in the winter. So I went in the winter, and Iceland's weather is very unpredictable. Most of the places you'll be going to are like really windy, waterfalls, so you definitely need to pack a good pair of waterproof shoes. You need to pack a good pair of waterproof jackets, windproof jackets too, but obviously it'll do you good if it's 2 in 1. And then you need to layer up. Like, it's not the cold in Iceland. It may look like it's 1 degree in Reykjavik when you look at Reykjavik, but because most of the excursions you're going to be taking will be a little bit outside Iceland, like south of Iceland, those places, especially places near the waterfall, are freezing. So you definitely should be ready to layer up. Also, if you have the Northern Lights as part of things you want to do when you get to Iceland, definitely the Northern Lights, if you want to see the Northern Lights and you need to get on a bus to go on a Northern Lights chase. I cannot emphasize this enough. I would say I was ill prepared for that. Maybe I did not do my research well. I don't think I saw anywhere where, like, the fact that you have to layer up this time was because where you're going to is like plain sights. You're like in the wind. If there's any reason for you to stay out for more than 1 minute, you're freezing because the wind is crazy. And you know this layer of insulation you have all over you to help you keep your body heat in, that's not going to work. So you need to layer up like 2 times how you'd normally layer up just by staying in Iceland. That's something you definitely need to note. Like, no cap, the wind is crazy. So if you're going to see the Northern Lights, be ready to layer up. Another one is if you're going to be going to any of the geothermal baths, the Sky Lagoon, the Blue Lagoon, the Secret Lagoon, all of those lagoons, don't forget to pack your swimming wear. One thing I did not do was take my waterproof phone case. So I was everywhere holding my phone up in the water.
Oh. Okay.
It was not a very nice sight because I was just, you know, in the water and holding my phone up. But I'm not going to go to a geothermal bath as popular as that and not have my phone with me. I'm not going to make videos. How else will I show you guys if I don't hold my phone? So we decided to collectively use one person's phone in a Ziploc bag to make all the videos in the geothermal baths you saw. I did not get as many videos as I would want, but I got enough to, you know, put it out there and tell people about it.
She said, hey, that's 100 card.
Yes, the what do you call it? The chasing, like chasing.
Okay.
Hey, 100 pounds.
So hold your swimming wear and waterproof phone case. Still on the geothermal bath, because we went to the Sky Lagoon, it means I can only talk about the Sky Lagoon. If you're going to do the 7-step ritual involved in the Sky Lagoon, you need to get there early. So it may seem like it's dark at like 9 a.m. because you can be at the Sky Lagoon all day. It's best for you to be one of the first batch to get there. You don't have to join a queue to get into the space where you do the 7-step ritual, which is what we all want anyway. We don't want to be on queues. And it was just nice, you know, first thing in the morning, relax, have a nice nap after. And that is what I spoke to a member of staff, and she said she definitely would recommend getting to the Sky Lagoon first thing in the morning, like as soon as they open.
Okay, I think my phone is getting well.
Another thing I can note is that social media, TikTok, all those places tend to hype a lot of places. Like when you're in Iceland, definitely go here, definitely go there. I think it's the same thing in other countries, but you don't need to go to all those places. I feel like most of the restaurants I saw are kind of like overrated. So if you could talk to your people renting out the accommodation to you, or people or staff in the hotel, and just tell them, this is I want to eat really good Icelandic food or really good food generally. Where can you recommend? I am pretty sure that they will recommend a very good restaurant for you to eat. Do not believe TikTok. And then I'll tell you for free, you do not need cash in Iceland, because by paying, but you can pretty much pay for everything with your card, with your Apple Pay, with your Google Pay, or whatever sort of pay you have. So you don't need cash in Iceland, but I have the Icelandic currency because I have this little thing where I'm collecting currencies from all the countries I've been to. So I have that, but generally you do not need to withdraw cash when you get to Iceland. It's pretty much going to be useless. Pro tip number, I've lost count of what number we are on right now. But when you're in Iceland, there's no reason for you to buy water, because Iceland has one of the cleanest water in the world. So you can literally go to a stream or a river or a waterfall and scoop water off it, and you are rest assured that it is a very clean water. So all you need to do is have your water bottle around and just scoop water. It's provided to you for free. And bonus points, it's chilled. Because it's cold anyway, so it's chilled. I know that we may want to be going on some tours. When you get to the black sand beach, everybody already says this, but people still do it. I've seen it all over TikTok, I've seen it all over Instagram, I've seen it. Do not turn your back at the sea. It is called a sneaky wave for a reason. The waves just suddenly come up, sneak at you, and would grab you into the water if you're not careful. So when you're at the black sand beach, if you plan to do the south of Iceland tour, or if you want to drive there, do not turn your back to the beach. If you're going to be visiting the Blue Lagoon, you could just do it before you get to your accommodation. So once you land into the country, just go on to this Blue Lagoon, because it's pretty much closer to the airport than it is for you to get to your accommodation, pick out another day and come back there. Or an alternative would be to leave the Sky Lagoon activity as the last thing you're gonna do, so you go there on your way to the airport. It depends on you, but there's no point driving 40 minutes or 50 minutes ish into Reykjavik and then having to come back to the Blue Lagoon, except you're going to the Sky Lagoon, which is pretty much very accessible from the heart of Reykjavik. You can rent cars. Cars are very much affordable to rent in Iceland. You can rent cars, you can go drive everywhere, but you need to know that the weather in Iceland is unpredictable. I generally do not feel safe driving around in Iceland, so I paid for tours instead, and I went for tours like 3 times, and they all cost less than 300 euros. I did not mind paying 300 euros for tours than renting cars, and I would not be able to navigate through very ash weather. So we're done with this section. I'm telling you how to navigate through Iceland on a budget, because that's what I did. I don't think I can comfortably afford a very luxurious lifestyle in Iceland. I spent 800 euros on my 5-day trip to Iceland. I've made a short on how I did that, so I'm going to be attaching that to this video. And I know that the first thing that really helped, was getting accommodation with my friends. So we were 5, and the 5 of us got like an apartment. It was a really nice apartment, and I think per per person, by the time I did the math, was about 45 euros per person.
I love the living room aesthetic though.
So I really love our apartments. It's the second one we're using for today, for the trip rather. And I really love the apartment. It's so nice. A very nice design. We should have stayed here from the outside, but that's not too bad anyway. Stay with it. And that wasn't too bad, which means for 5 days we ended up spending, if you were to do that for 5 days, you end up spending a little over 200 euros on accommodation, which generally is not bad. Pro tip number 2 on going to Iceland on a budget would be, you want to avoid getting into a taxi at all costs. So from the airport, you could easily get a fly bus, or there are a lot of buses that go from the airport, and it's like 30 euros compared to about 120 euros you'd spend if you were to get on it. Of course, unless you're like a group of 5, then that would make sense, right? I don't deny that, but generally I'm usually almost always a solo traveler, so I think for one person or for 2 people. Another thing would be, if you're also going to transport yourself in Reykjavik, if you're not on your tour bus, you can download the app called cliché. I've attached it here. And this will get you from point A to point B for about 2 euros or 4 euros. I don't remember right now. I'll check and I'll let you know. It will take you everywhere for about 1 hour 30 minutes, which I don't think is too bad. Then finally, if you're going to be eating, generally all the places we stayed in 2 accommodations, and they all had places for us to eat or cook. They all had places for us to cook. So we spent less having to eat out, and we just cooked in, which saved us a lot of money. So if you're in Iceland, it will do you well to cook. Also, did you know that Icelandic people pay the lowest electricity in the whole of Europe? This is because they already get electricity from their thermal plants, so just supply to them for almost nothing. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of What to Do in Iceland. And if you're watching this, it means you probably have a trip planned to go to Iceland. I hope you have fun in Iceland, and if you enjoyed this, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Thank you for watching this. Bye. See you next week.